in the supine position, make sure that you're comfortable with the back of your head, you're comfortable with the hips, with the pelvis. You might move from side to side, finding the best position. If you feel you would like to have your knees bent, are welcome to bend the knees, having your feet planted comfortably on the mat, hip distance. For this breathing exercise, you might want to have hands on the bottom of your rib cage. And as you inhale, you would notice how the hands moving slightly up and apart as the rib cage expands to the sides, as well as I would like you to feel how the back of the rib cage pressed to the mat on the inhalation. So the main target here for this breathing exercise is to activate the diaphragmatic breath, to build the pace that steady but comfortable for your respiratory system. You take an inhalation through the nostrils. You take an exhalation through the nostrils. Think of inhalation like inhaling air through the straw. That is your nostrils, and exhaling through the straw, that is your throat. So maybe slightly engage the muscles of the throat, and you might notice vibration of the exhalation, activating all this area that we associate with one of the energy centers of the body, the throat chakra. Notice how the spine reflects to the breathing, how you may be having a little bit of their lower back extension on the inhalation and slight flexion, relaxation of the spine down toward the earth on your exhale. Let's have here 3 more inhales, 3 more exhales. And then after the last exhalation, release your arms beside your hips. Palms could face the floor, and adjust your feet. If you have straight legs, maybe bend your knees. Adjust your feet hip distance apart. So, and bring your heels as close as it's comfortable for your knees. So don't compress your knees too much. Something that is comfortable, and make sure that your feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. And from here we'll come into the bridges. So we're gonna lift the hips off the floor, going like peeling off and not going too high. And as you come to position with your hips parallel with your torso, just engage slightly your glutes here to maintain the neutral position. And then very slowly, vertebra by vertebra, bring the hips back down. We'll have here 4 more. So inhalation, lift your hips, but stop with a neutral position. So don't try to come to the high position of the bridge. And then exhale, bring the hips back. Again, inhale, lift, hold this position for 1 inhale. And on next exhale, bring it down. 2 more, inhale. So we just connecting to the back of your body, activating the lower part of their torso to support us for the postures. Exhale down. Last time, lift your hips up. And exhale down. Next one, we will move the feet a little bit away and maybe step a foot or maybe less. You're going to be finding what is the appropriate distance, and then flex your feet. So basically you are now standing on your heels. And we're going to do the same bridge position. We're going to lift the hips, but this time you will feel your hamstrings also activate. Hold here. So if you're finding it's too easy, come down, adjust your heels, maybe move it a little bit further. If you're finding your hamstrings are cramping, maybe bring your heels a little bit closer. And let's inhale, lift, hold here. Notice how your hamstrings are turning on. Exhale, come down. So for me it was too far from my right hamstring, so I brought my heels a little bit closer. So closer you have your heels, more glutes working, less hamstring working. Exhale down. Further you have your heels, you're going to feel more of your hamstrings activating. Coming up, having the breath, coming all the way down, and the last one like that. So inhale, lift, and let's hold this. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way down. So maybe you would like to stretch your hamstring a little bit. So bring your knees to your chest, and then maybe extend your legs, flex your feet, allow yourself to stretch the hamstrings a bit. And then from here we're going to come into the dead back position with the legs. And this time I'm asking you to have your pointed toes. So point your toes, have your knees above your hips. And for this position, you can have your arms beside your hips, as we're going to be tapping with the toes. So you can observe me on the screen right now. So I'm keeping my knee 90 degrees. I'm not bending my knee to tap. So it's not my toe coming down, but my leg is moving away from the hip. I'm touching the floor, bringing it back, and then changing the leg, bringing back. So let's do it together. So 90-degree knee to start, 90-degree hip to start, and then you just allowing the leg to come slightly away, starting from the hip tapping and bringing back, controlling the knees. Then go in the other leg, tapping, bringing back. You're right away feeling your lower abdomen working. Make sure you're not arching in your lower back. Tap, come back into the start position. Tap, come back to start position. We have 3 more for each leg. Tap, control your knees. You can even have your arms straight to like a stopper, and come. So making sure your knees not coming too close to your torso, and tap, and tap. And the last time, the right leg and the left leg. And then hold, and then bring your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. And the last here, the core activation, we're going to take a block, one block only. Again, you can just observe me on the screen. So I'm coming into the dead back position. This time you can have your feet flexed, and you're pressing block to the left side with the left hand. And you're really going to be pressing here, and then the right arm and the right leg is in the dead back position, and we're going to be extending the right leg and right arm and coming back while we continue to press the left hand into the thigh. Okay, so let us get into position. So have your dead back position, flex feet this time, press the left hand into the block. Continue to have this engagement of the left side of the body, and take your right arm up, right shoulder is relaxed, and let's do 5 extension. Right leg, right arm, hold, bring it back, control your knee, extend, flex foot as low as you can hold, come back, continue to press the left hand, extend number 3, and come back. Extend number 4, and come back. Last time, right arm, right leg, hold, 3, 2, 1, and let's rest. Bring your feet to the floor, maybe adjust your hips, maybe rock them from side to side, and we are all doing this on the other side. So bring the block in pressure of the right thigh with the right hand, and then have your left knee in a dead back position, left arm up toward the ceiling. When you're ready, continue to press on the right and extend the left side and come back. 1. Extend again. Come back. 2. Extend. 3. Extend. 4. Last time, extend and hold. 3, 2, 1, and release. So bring your feet to the floor, bring your arms in T position, just a little bit of release of the lower back. Move the knees from side to side. So you definitely feel that the midsection of the torso now warmed up and awake, and then find your way to roll on one side and come into the tabletop position. While you're in the tabletop position, set your blocks on the side of the mat, so we will be able to pick them up and come into the tabletop position. Set your knees hip distance, hands shoulder width apart, and let us come into the cat stretch. So let's hold the cat stretch for a little bit. That allow us to release any tension along the neck, in between the shoulder blades, as well as with the tucking the tailbone. We create a bit of a stretch and release of the lower back that definitely we put some stress on with the core activation exercises. And on next inhale, when you're ready, come into the dog stretch, keeping shoulders away from the ears, slightly lifting the chin. Taking another inhale, allowing a bit of a stretch of the rectus abdominals muscles. And from here, allow yourself to move from side to side. Inhale, exhale. Usually on exhale, we're rounding the spine. And on inhale, we come into the spinal extension, lifting the chin up. Let's have 2 more on your own pace. Inhale and exhale. Last one, the way that feels right for you. And you will come into the neutral position here. Bring your knees together and let us extend the right leg. So here, before you're going to take your left hand off the floor, make sure that you stabilize in the right shoulder by pressing the right palm, and make sure that you're not extending through your midsection. So hold the abdomen in, engage your right glute and right hamstring. Don't lift your leg high. Feel like you're pulling the heel into the hip socket, and then when you stabilize the torso, then you're taking the left arm off the floor, aligning the left ear with the arm, relax left shoulder, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release left hand and step the right foot forward into the 90-degree lunge. So your left thigh is 90-degree and your right knee 90-degree. Tuck the tailbone under just a little bit. Take your arms parallel to the floor and twist to the right. Let's go into pulses. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to the center, bring the hands on the floor, and step the right knee back into the tabletop position. So now here you will extend the left leg, lift the left leg. Before you're taking the right hand, make sure that you all supported here from the midsection, using the left glute, left hamstring, pulling the heel in, having very stable left shoulder. When you're ready, take your right arm parallel to the floor, aligning the right ear with the right arm, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the right hand and step the left foot forward, lifting the torso. So to be stable, you might want to have a little bit of a distance between your foot and your knee. Take your arms parallel to the floor, twist to the left. Make sure you're not moving just your arms, rotating the torso. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return back into the tabletop position. This time in a tabletop position, you're going to extend your right leg, and I want you to pick up the block and set your block into this high position, pressing the palm and moving your left shoulder to get above your left palm. Let's flex the right foot and lift it off the floor. So make sure the leg is not in front and not behind. You're not extending. You're pulling the leg in. You can take a look. It should be shoulder, hip, heel alignment. And take your right arm up. Holding the supported side plank. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's release. Let's bring the block to the other side. So it's probably the 2 feet or a foot and a half distance from the knee. Extend your left leg. So first of all, you want to stabilize your right shoulder above the base of the palm, and then scan your left side, then lift the left foot off the floor, flex it. One straight line here, and then when you're ready, you're taking the left arm up, gazing toward your left thumb, holding. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's release and come into the child pose. Taking the knees wide, dropping the hips where it feels comfortable for your knees, extending the arms forward, bringing the forehead down on the floor. And make this child pose active. So maybe lift the base of the palms off the floor, but make sure you're not tensing the top of your shoulders. More like thinking of a shoulder blade sliding toward the base of the spine, toward the back of your mat. Your forehead is comfortably resting on the floor if that's working for your neck. So lengthening from the sides of the body, just awakening the size of the body here. And then let's look forward. Lift your hips, tuck your toes, and find your first downward dog. And in this downward dog, I want you to bend your knees as much as you need to, and create one straight line from the palm, elbow, shoulder, and your tailbone. One straight line. Just visualize that. Drop the head between the arms. Play a little bit with your shoulders. Maybe move a little bit your shoulders like in a circular movement to find where you have your best position for supported shoulders. Holding here for 1 exhale, and let's drop the knees down to the floor and step your right foot forward. So this time we're coming into the low lunge, and if you finding that it's a little bit low for you to have your hands on the floor, use the block. To get the comfortably left knee, maybe lifting the knee a couple of times here, so it could be high, it could be low, and I want you to just create a bit of a stretch for the hip flexor here. So hold here, maybe a rock from side to side till you feel that you're comfortable, and I would like you for sure to use the block under the left hand for the next one, as we're going to tap the left toe, lifting the left knee off the floor. First, bring the right hand to the right thigh and then rotate to the right. Keep your left shoulder above your block, and you can bring the right hand to your lower back. So continue to twist your right shoulder up toward the ceiling. We're not going to be taking the arm up, we're just holding the right hand on the lower back. and make sure that you're not collapsing to your left hand and to your left hip. Use the left leg up to support. You feel that your right thigh is not loaded here. Unfold and drop the left knee. Bring the right knee back into the tabletop, and now tuck your toes and come to your plank. Making sure shoulders are above the palms. Tuck the tailbone under. Keep your neck relaxed and hold. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down to the floor and step your left foot forward. Again, use the block here to adjust the position. Push the hips forward. Allow first just to stretch the right hip flexor. You can use the high position of the block or mid position of the block. Probably floor is too low for you, so just don't hesitate to use the block. And when you're ready, you're using the block under the right hand. Move your right shoulder forward, bring the left hand to your thigh, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee off the floor and twist to the left. Your left hand comes to the lower back. So control that you're not collapsing with the right hip. So it might feel like you go in high lunge, and that's okay. As long as knee is 90 degrees, keep back leg, your right leg strong here, and feel like you, if I ask you, you can take your right hand off the block, so not collapsing to the right block. So just using your legs to support here, twisting. Very good, very good. Let's drop the right knee down and come into the tabletop position, and then tuck your toes and come to the plank. Holding the plank for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Drop the knees, press the hips back again, come into active child pose. We're just releasing the wrist a little bit here. Allow yourself to stretch the wrist. We might load them in plank. And when you're ready, tuck your toes and come into the downward dog. Exhale. Long spine again. Maybe this time you pedal your heels to stretch a little bit your calves and hamstrings. And then again, don't worry about soft knees if you need. More important is to have your alignment from the wrist, elbow, shoulder, tailbone. And then when you're ready, look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Just hang here for the moment, maybe interlacing the hands, maybe rocking from side to side a couple of times. Allow yourself to send your sit bones up toward the ceiling, and then pick up the block and just very slowly, vertebra by vertebra, with the block in the hands, lift yourself up into standing position. Exhale. So let us place the block between the thighs, and that also will help you to align your feet parallel to each other, and squeeze the block a little bit. And notice how squeezing the block will activate your glutes and activate your lower abdomen. And then let us just pinch the hip flexors and come into the chair pose with the arms parallel to the floor. So making sure to sending your sit bones back, holding the arms here. Control your lower back, so you don't want to extend it too much, but you don't want to be rounded here, right? So you need to be in a neutral position, sending the sit bones back and down, holding, and then coming all the way up. We're going to have 2 more of that. So you want to squeeze the block and then come into chair pose. And as you're in a chair pose, continue to squeeze the block, holding the arms, shoulders relaxed, faces relaxed, and you're still breathing. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up, exhale. So maybe you have to relax a little bit, and again, squeeze the block and come into the chair pose, holding. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way up and release the block in between the thighs. Step to the front of the mat if you're not there, and practice your mountain pose. So for now, we already engaged glutes, hamstrings, inner thighs, lower abdomen, rectus abdominal. So all this area that's supporting the upper body is awake. So use it for your proper alignment for the standing posture. Keep your palms facing front just to have some external rotation of the shoulders. Let's just check that the breath is coming naturally in a comfortable pace through the nostrils, and we use this space for the flow. With inhale, lift the arms up. Bring the palms together, hinge from the hips and come all the way down into the passive fold. Hinge it from the hips, long spine. Then bring the hands on the shins and lift the chest up. So it's like a chair pose, but you have your torso slightly more forward and the seat bone up. So this rest alignment is the same as in the chair pose. And then maybe touching the floor and stepping the left foot back into lunge, bringing the hands on the hips and lifting the torso. So here you're just first checking that your right knee is 90 degrees, and then let's step a little bit closer. So maybe you're 2 inches closer. And now here we are lifting the back heel, bending the left knee, maintaining neutral spine, coming down and we're pulsing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then finding your downward dog, bring the hands on the floor. Maybe you need to step your feet a little bit away from your hands because we stepped forward. So to maintain your proper downward dog distance, you might be a little bit further away toward the back of the mat. Make sure your head is relaxed here. On next inhale, look forward, move your shoulders forward, come into plank. Strong glutes, strong hamstrings, strong lower abdomen. Push the floor, rounding the upper back just to protract the shoulder blades, and then drop the knees down and find your way all the way down to the floor. Exhale. Let us bring the arms on the sides of the hips for this first one. Palms facing the ceiling. Then point your toes and lift your legs a little bit, maybe an inch or 2 off the floor. Lift your face, maybe also 2 inches, and then lift your arms, rolling shoulders back. So create the nice arch in the back of the body. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the legs, bring the hands on the sides of the ribcage, press the chin to the chest. Round yourself, lift your hips into the cat stretch, and then tug the toes. Exhale, come into the downward dog. Again, anytime you need to adjust the distance between hands and feet in the downward dog, just do so you feel comfortable. Then let us step the right foot a little bit closer to the midline and step the left foot forward. And it doesn't need to be a very wide lunge, as you know. Bring the hands on the hips, lift the torso up. So here you need to tuck the tailbone under, and if you need to step a little bit closer, step a little bit closer and then lift the heel, tuck the tailbone, bend the knee and pulse here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll bring the hands down and step it into downward dog. Exhale, long spine. On next inhale, look forward, come into plank, press the floor, very strong body, just parallel to the floor. Don't keep your hips too high. Shoulders should be above the palms, drop the knees and come all the way down, exhale. For this variation, we bring the arms into cactus pose on 90-degree elbows. This time you keep your toes pressed to the floor, but legs are working really hard. You lift your torso off the floor, face off the floor. Lift your forearms off the floor. And make a fist and then pull yourself forward. Bring elbows to the rib cage. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So elbows are where they are. You're just trying to place the palms on the sides of the rib cage, and then chin to the chest. Press yourself up and into the downward dog. Exhale. Let's hold this downward dog for 5 breaths. And I want you to focus on supporting your downward dog from a strong triceps, strong shoulders. Make sure you're not lifting the shoulders toward your ears. Think of a shoulder blade sliding toward the base of the spine. Make sure the neck is relaxed. On next inhale, look forward, walk to the front of the mat. Make sure your feet stays parallel to each other. Bring your hands to the shins. Lift the chest halfway. So keeping your inner thighs engaged, lift your torso a little bit more. Your shoulders align with your knees, and then lift your arms into the chair pose, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the heels and lift the arms up. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your arms on the sides of the hips. Let's have 1 breath to catch. Just relax. If you maybe held the breath, maybe it was a bit of a challenge for you, so just make sure that breathing is normal, and we'll go to another flow. Inhale the arms up, hinging from the hips, coming all the way down. Exhale. Bring the hands on the shins, lifting the chest halfway, so you're in a hinge. It's like a chair pose, just with the torso lower. Touch the floor and step the left foot back. This time, come to the wider lunge, but still using the back leg for support. Lift the torso up. So let us keep the hands on the hips, finding the very strong support from the back leg. I want you just to move your front knee in and out. Making sure that you can do that means that you're using your back leg. And then stop with a knee facing exactly straight forward. Interlace the hands, lift the arms overhead, and let's just come to the side bend to the right. To use this position and be balanced, again, back leg is what holding you. Return back to the center, release the arms, and then bring the ham to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. On next inhale, come into plank. Hold the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's drop the knees for the moment, just to catch the breath. Maybe release the wrist. And come into plank again. Step your feet together, and this time bring your right thigh to your chest. Pressing the right thigh to your chest, but make sure that you're not moving your shoulders back and your hips up. You're parallel here. And let's drop the right thigh down and then lift it up. 1. Drop it down and then lift it up. 2. Drop it down and then lift it up. 4. Drop it down and lift it up. 5. And come into downward dog. Exhale. And next inhale, stepping your left foot forward into lunge. Bring hands on the hips, lifting the torso up. So using your back leg here for support. To check that, we're going to move the left knee from side to side, feeling that we're not overloading the left quad, and then just sending the knees forward, interlacing the hands and taking the arms overhead. And then coming into very gentle side bend here. So the lower body is solid support. The upper body comes into the side bend. And then coming back to the center, bring the hands on the floor, stepping into downward dog. Exhale. Then dropping knees down for a moment. Again, maybe you need to shake your wrist a little bit. And then finding your plank position. Stepping the feet together, bringing the left thigh to your chest. And then dropping the shin down and lifting. 1. Dropping and lifting. 2. Dropping and lifting. 4. Oh, it's 3, right? And now 4. And drop and lift. 5 and come into downward dog. Exhale. On next inhale, slide into plank and drop the knees. Come all the way down. Exhale. This time we'll have the hands into our classical cobra pose. So base of the palms aligned with the lower ribs, shoulders back, strong legs, lift your chest off the floor, neutral neck, and just keep your palms really lightly touching the floor. Elbows attached to the torso, shoulders moves back, and then press the floor, chin to the chest, maybe coming into the moment, into the cat stretch, tucking the toes, exhale, come into the downward dog. Let's hold this downward dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Let's bring the hands to the shins, lift the chest halfway, and come into one more chair pose. Make sure your inner thighs are engaged, your knees are not coming together, not coming too wide. Shoulders relax, arms relax. Lift arms overhead, and exhale, bring the arms on the sides of the hips. So let us again take a block and place the block between the thighs. Like we had the chair pose variation. And from here, we'll bring the body weight to the right foot, and we're going to lift the left heel. Flex foot. So continue to squeeze the block with your inner thighs, and now poking into the hip flexors, you're coming into the fold. Hold it here. Very soft right knee. Body weight distributed equally. So ideally you want to be parallel to the floor, and your hips should stay parallel. So if I would ask you to place the second block on your hips, the block will stay there. Keep squeezing your inner thighs, holding here. And let's lift the torso and release. So let us try to do it on the left side. So first, squeeze your inner thighs, bring the body weight to the left foot, lift the right heel, flex foot, hinging from the hips. So the hint here is like you're coming with your chest forward and down. Crown of the head comes forward, and again, your hips are square. You can hold the second block on your hips. The left knee is soft. Hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, keep squeezing your inner thighs, 5, and release. So maybe take the block off the thighs and shake your legs. And let's, this time, bring your knees together. You might hold the block with your fingers, just one block. And this time you're going to bring the body weight to the right foot, and you're going to bend your left knee. So this time you don't have a block, but you using your inner thigh engagement to kind of pull everything to the center line. You are hinging here, having the block just under the chest, and then let us first extend the left leg, flex the foot. It's like you're pressing the heel into the wall behind you. You can have your arms here, shoulders relaxed, head is parallel, or you might want to extend your arms with a block to the opposite direction. Try to think of your hips. So I have here 2 blocks. So my second block is sit on my hips, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and find yourself off the pose. Shake your legs. So start first with pulling everything to the midline, and then continue to build. Let's go other side. So bring the body weight to the left foot and lift the right leg. Pull the lower abdomen in, really be engaged here, and then come into the fold. Neutral position. You can hold the block under the chest. Extend the right leg. So this is the first progression, and you're welcome to stay here, or you can extend your arms to the opposite direction and control of your hips. So your hips should be parallel to the floor. Holding here, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's release. Shake everything, and let us have one block between the fingers and hold the block over the head. So this is a very similar to what we did on the floor with a knee on the floor, but we're going to be using the balance here as well. So holding the arms overhead, bring the body weight to the right leg, lifting the left foot, flexing the left foot, and then find as much as you can, control the balance, lean to the right, holding the head between the arms, flexing the left foot. Your left side should be all straight line. Holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try not to drop the left foot right away. Come up with the torso and then release. Shake your legs. Let us go to the other side, taking the block overhead. Bring the body weight to the left foot, extending the right, flexing the foot, and coming to the left. Keeping arms straight, head between the arms, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, try not to drop the heel right away and release. So let us go to one more flow here. Coming to the front of the mat, keeping the feet parallel to each other, having the palms facing the front. Take a couple of exhales, catch your breath, make sure the breathing is balanced, and then with inhale, lift your arms up. Palms together, hinge from the hips. Exhale, folding forward. Hands on the shins, lifting the chest halfway. Then maybe you touch the floor to step the left foot back, and this time you're dropping the left heel. Coming with the hips facing the long side of the body. So come into the warrior 2 position. Make sure shoulders are above the hips. Let's take the arms overhead and then extend them to the sides. So take a look on your back arm and your left arm. So make sure that you're aware of the strong alignment here, and then bring your gaze to the front, to the right. Control your front knee. You have a tendency to collapse with a knee in. So make sure your inner thigh is engaged. Don't worry about your left hip. Keep it where it's comfortable. Holding here. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the right elbow to the right thigh and take your left hand to your lower back. Rotate your left shoulder back here and be aware of the left side of the body. So what happens here very often, we're having the hips high, left hip high, and we're collapsing to the right shoulder. So make sure that there's a right elbow just slightly touching here, and then let us go toward the floor and bring the right hand on the floor, and then just lift and have just the tip of the fingers touching the floor. Maybe you want to move your left heel a little bit further, a little bit wider position. Taking the left arm up, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rotate toward the front of the mat. Lift your left heel and see if you can slide your right leg into plank without lifting your hips. Holding the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down to the floor. Exhale, come down. Keep your hands on the sides of the rib cage and come to cobra. So making sure that you're not pressing yourself up with your arms, but using the posterior chain muscles to extend the spine. Then tuck your toes, exhale, come into the downward dog. Long spine. On next inhale, step in the right foot a little bit closer to the midline and step in the left foot forward into the lunge, dropping the right heel down to the floor, lifting the torso and finding your warrior 2 on the other side. So controlling the front knee, having the back foot supported, taking the arms overhead to start with, and then taking the arms parallel to the floor. Take a look on your back arm. Make sure it's one straight line, so it's not behind. It's aligned with the hip and leg. And then bring your gaze to the left, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bring the left elbow lightly touching the left side, bring the right hand to your lower back. Maybe you want to, at this point, to adjust a little bit wider position. Rotate the right shoulder back, look up above the shoulder. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's reach to the floor. Maybe you need to go a little bit wider with your legs and then just have just the tip of the fingers touching the floor. Press the left elbow into the left knee, take your right arm up. Hold an extended triangle, 4, 5. Use your back leg, back glute to hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Look forward and find your plank. Maybe having this position that we practiced earlier. Hips not coming high, holding, dropping the knees, coming all the way down. Exhale. Press the hands and lift the torso up into cobra. Neutral position. Maybe you want to test yourself and lift your palms off the floor. And then press into the child pose. Exhale. Taking the arms, if needed, on the sides of the hips. If you love to have your arms in front, that's also possible. Maybe rocking from side to side a couple of times. Exhale here. And then let's lift the head, and you find yourself in the seated. And I would like you to be on the back edge of your mat. So you have a full mat, and you're taking your feet wider than the mat, flexing the feet. So we'll practice the 90-90 position. So I'm going to be with the front, with the 90-90. Most of us will be able to bring their palms together, and the distance between the knees is the 2 lengths of your forearms. Your shins are parallel to each other, your feet are perpendicular, and you would like to have your straight spine. And now from here we're going to drop both knees to the left all the way. So you want to adjust your heel, left heel and the right knee, and making sure that you have now your shin and thigh parallel, and here the shin is thigh parallel. You might find that your right hip will come off the floor. That's fine. Now start to lift your right knee, and then in the some position you're finding that you can continue with the right knee, left knee peels off the floor, and you're allowed to peel to come back into center, straight spine, and you go to the other side. When you come to the other side, maybe you need to adjust the front heel position, and you're keeping your spine straight. So now from here, you're lifting the right knee. So come into something like that. When you're finding that your right knee peeling off the floor, you're coming back to the center tall, and you go to the other side. So I can see that some of you have heel and knee too close. So separate. It should be about 1.5 feet at least. So a length of your thigh. Yes, that's a very nice adjustment. So basically what we want to do is to move slowly, mindfully, from side to side. We're coming all the way to side when the knee, front knee touching the floor, lifting, controlling the start position, going to the other side. Your heels will be moving forward. You will need to adjust a little bit. So that's why you can observe I'm moving forward, because I'm every rotation I would need to adjust my heel to be aligned with my other knee, because my hip limitation. Okay, and every time I come here I'm in a straight spine, so I'm not rounded. Continue to move till you may be reaching the front of the mat. Keep your feet actively flexed. That supports your knees here. So going, continue to go. Your hip can come off the floor, that's okay. This is your hip rotation. So you are observing how the hip rotates in a hip socket. So let us have 2 more for each direction. You probably feel your hips are right now lubricated pretty good for any activities you're going to have in front of you for the day. And when you finish your second one, to the other side, we'll just come with that wide-legged position here. So take your legs as wide as possible, still bring the hands behind the back, lengthening here. So finding a tall position here, and let's walk back a little bit, and then lift your right leg off the floor and drop it down. And then lift the left and drop it down. Let's now bring the soles of the feet together, reach to your big toes and lift your heels off the floor, keeping your chest open. Extend your right leg. If you're not able to hold your big toe, hold your ankle. Bring it back. Extend the left. Bring it back. And probably most of you will be not able to hold your toes to do both legs. So hold your ankles, hold your legs. Pull yourself forward, bend your elbows, use your biceps a little bit. Hold, keep your spine straight. 4 or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the soles of the feet together. Just round your spine and to passive stretch. Exhale. Let us reach to the block and lift the hips with the block. So you sit on the block, having your left shin down on the floor, having the right shin perpendicular to the floor, interlacing the hands on the top of the shin, lengthening. Then hug your knee, bring the right hand on your lower back and gently twist. Keep using the right arm as a second spine. Think of the chin parallel to the floor. Keep chest open. Close your eyes and think of relaxation here rather than using the effort to twist. Try not to overwork with your left shoulder. So take a look at the camera. So what we love to do here is to bring this left shoulder forward, and we're rounding in the upper back. I would rather keep a relaxed left shoulder and use just maybe a little bit of the forearm strength to rotate. Taking another exhale, coming back to the center, have a tall spine, and then change the legs. Bring the right shin down. Again, adjust your sit bones, interlace the hands, and keep first your tall spine. And then just securing your right knee, bring the left hand on the floor behind, using it as a second spine. Pull yourself up. So use this left arm to press chest up and then twist. Again, close your eyes. Try not to overwork with the right shoulder, with the right biceps here, but rather find the natural rotation of the upper back. Taking another exhale. Coming back to the center. Let us still keep the block, and we will come into passive bridge here. We'll place the block on the lower level under the hips, making sure that your spine is all heading toward the floor. So maybe having a little bit of a pelvic tilt here, and we'll just hold that relaxed position to release the lower back, just in case we loaded this with our core work today. So nice traction for the spine here. You can close your eyes and just keep relaxed arms, relaxed neck. Make sure your neck is always parallel to the floor. Some of you maybe need to always have a folded blanket, a folded towel to keep it under the back of your head. We'll have here another 10 exhalations. And then allow yourself to lift the hips and take the block away. One at a time, bring your spine down to the floor. And then bring the right ankle on the top of the left knee. And just gently open the right hip. Try to maintain your hip square to the floor when you're lifting the left foot off the floor. Let's today practice variation with a straight left leg. You might bring your hands and interlace behind the left hamstring. And keep your shoulders relaxed and just use a little bit of the strength here to pull the leg toward the chest. And with the resistance of the ankle, you're working on just a passive stretch for the right hip. Make sure your right shoulder is not lifted. If this is too much, you don't need to interlace the hands. It's better to be here with aligned shoulders, aligned hips. Just use a little bit of the left leg strength to secure your ankle. Let's release the left leg. Bring the right foot down to the floor. Readjust your hips. Bring your left ankle on the top of the right knee. Flex the foot. And then lift the right leg. If it's available for you, you're interlacing the hands if it's too much. If you're noticing your left shoulder is tensing, like you lifted it toward the ear, just forget, have your arms on the floor. Keep shoulders relaxed. Lift your right heel. Keep it flexed foot. You have your nice hamstring stretch as well as the left hip opening here. And let's bring the right foot down to the floor. Bring both feet. And this time I want you to walk your feet wider than the mat. So really wide, a comfortable position for the knees. Take your arms in T position. Drop the knees to the right. You can turn the head to the left. Finding some nice stretch for the left IT band here. With this position for the separated heels and knees, nice stretch for the IT band, even the quad little bit. So feeling it here, taking exhale. And bring the knees up. And then dropping knees to the other side, maybe turning the head to the other side. And lifting the knees up. Readjusting your hips, readjusting your pelvis, and then extending one leg at a time. Closing the eyes and practicing your Shavasana. We had some emphasis today on the midsection of the torso and hips. So you may be feeling some blood circulation on these areas. Try to keep it all relaxed and comfortable. But make sure you're not compensating any tension in your shoulders. So keep your arms relaxed, shoulders away from the ears. Notice if your mind already taking you away from the mat. It's too early. Stay here now. Still practicing your final mindful relaxation. movements back and fingers, wrists, toes, ankles, elbows, shoulders. Maybe hug yourself and rock the upper body from side to side. Then maybe bend your knees and bring them to your chest. Hug them and rock your lower body from side to side. And then when you're ready, roll to the side of the body. Using the left arm, bring yourself up into seated position. Come into comfortable seated position with the ankle one in front of the other, maintaining your tall spine. Bring the hands to your knees for the moment, just to making sure that your shoulders are relaxed. And then bring the hands in front of the heart. Thank yourself for being on the mat this morning. And take this positive energy that we created and shared with each other to be your guide for the rest of the day. Namaste.